The
matter.
idea that people are on a completely level playing field from ground set and then the government is the one that fucks with the scales is a complete libertarian lie. It's not true. People are not born in equal positions.
You believe that the government does get it wrong and does fuck with
Of
people's
course.
positions, right? I mean, this is the dictator's handbook, like basically. And Milton Friedman says this as well. Milton Friedman says, really, it's the middle class, the largest voting bloc that's really taking money from poor people, which that's tough to swallow.
The problem, well, first of all, to address what Vosh just said, I don't believe Thomas Sowell is saying that he thinks everyone's born at an equal level playing field. I believe his position is that people are born in very unequal playing fields, but that any attempt to correct that usually ends up with making it worse, not better.
Right.
That's his position. So again, Vosh is strawman his position, but okay, that's accepted. But no, obviously, only a fool would say that the government or any group is going to get things wrong a lot of the times. My contention is that you have, and this is where pisses me off. So you have the leftists only see oppression as coming from corporations, right? Like, oh, it's the corporations, the rich, the elite, they're stepping on everybody. But then the libertarians only see the oppression coming from the government.
Yep.
And this is where
the shit out of me. They're like
right, and
two sides of the same coin.
Exactly. And this is where our enlightened centrism comes in. It says, what are you talking about? Like, it's not that the government only is oppressive or corporations only oppressive. It's that people who can be oppressive in any sort of hierarchy of power will be oppressive.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. The problem is the balancing act of societies. You have to figure out, okay, how do we have to have a hierarchy of power, right? The state has to have a, what's it called? The state has to have a, they have to have the only
a
monopoly
on force. Monopoly on force
right.
is what you're looking for.
State has
the
to have
shackled Leviathan.
Right.
Is it
right.
in Pokemon?
That's the problem.
Is Pokemon the thing that you fight with? Like in Pokemon, you have a Pokemon that fights another Pokemon. Am I getting that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the state can be conceptualized as your Pokemon. It's like it's your Leviathan. But you have to shackle you have to shackle your Leviathan because that Leviathan can easily turn on you.
Right,
is there
exactly.
any Pokemon? Is there any Pokemon that do turn on their master? Well, I don't even know.
So it's actually funny that you're bringing this up because there is a Pokemon called Gyarados that would be the perfect visualization of the Leviathan. Looks like a big snake sea monster. And if you're not, so I never tie out this. If you're not high enough level and you don't defeat, or actually no, if you don't defeat certain trainers, so you get special badges, your high level Pokemons, your high level Leviathans will turn on you and they won't listen to you. Okay?
Yes. We're talking World War II shit here. That's when the Leviathan gets out of control.
Right. That's what fascism is, and authoritarianism is and communism is in practice anyway, is the Leviathan turning on the people. And
go ahead.
The thing is, I guess this is what triggers me, is that the communists say that they want like the largest Leviathan ever that's just going to rule over you. The giant Gyarados is going to rule over you, and it's just going to, for some reason, magically, be the just king, right? The big communism basically advocating for like the just king. The magic king is just going to be like totally benevolent. But then the libertarians are basically saying, well, you don't want the Gyarados, you want, the Rattata. You want the Pidgey.
Tiny,
you want some tiny fucking shitty Pokemon that's so small that it's going to get gobbled up by everything else around
any other Pokemon that comes along.
Right, and I like this. It's actually I really like.
I know it's a great analogy. I thought of it today. I'm like, holy shit, this is perfect.
Because and the problem is that this is the world view problem. Okay, so the communists basically conceptualize it as the government's going to be the benevolent giant Pokemon, and all the private companies are like the evil Pokemon, the legendary birds and your Dragonites running around, trying to kill you and take advantage of you. But the libertarian flaw is that they only view the governments as the rampaging monsters. For some reason, they don't also view the corporations as having the ability to have equal power over you, equal oppressive force over you, if there isn't the shackled Leviathan over their head.
They do recognize that monopoly is the problem because they're very much against monopoly, and they feel like if the corporations have competition, then that will never be a problem. And the problem with the state is the state has no competition. So they do have an argument around that.
Right, but I would argue that you always need the state to prevent monopolies. I don't think monopoly.
True. Yes,
we
very much
know,
so. Monopoly is
we
a
know
natural
that,
state.
Right. We know this. Jordan Peterson has said this many times. Hierarchies always tend towards corruption.
Yes.
That's just like, unfortunately, the truth of the matter. Things always head towards the Pareto distribution. So yeah, you always need some referee somewhere that has the ability to put a clamp on shit.
So another problem that I have with the libertarians and the small government people is if you conceptualize the government as your Pokemon, like the Pokemon needs to be as big as it needs to be to accomplish the goals that it needs to accomplish. And
Right.
if you want like universal healthcare, you're going to have a bigger government to accomplish that goal. If you want, a world distribution system, which America has, you need a bigger government to accomplish that goal. Whatever goal you want to accomplish, the government needs to be big enough to do that. And more people conceptualize the government as providing services, so they want that government. What Friedman is constantly saying is when the government does it, it costs twice as much. And evidently they've done studies where whenever they outsource some portion of the government to private industry, it always costs half as much. If it's like trash pickup or whatever.
Buy that whatsoever.
You don't buy it. So
No. I have to look at the study. I don't buy that.
I would love to use your autism to our advantage because obviously I'm skeptical of all this stuff. But Friedman says, and they do this all the time. Like cities contract to private industry to do garbage collection and stuff like that.
Right.
Every time they do it, they end up paying half as much. So and this revolves around the healthcare debate and things like that. Everyone always talks about free healthcare. Like the argument against it is healthcare is not free. Well, I'm not thinking healthcare is free. I'm thinking I pay a lot of taxes and I don't feel like I'm getting a lot of value for it. So
Right,
I feel like healthcare would be something that I would get. I would feel like my tax money was actually, doing something actually for me. And this is Milton Friedman's argument as well. Milton Friedman says many times, I'm not an anarchist. I believe in government, but the government is just expensive. And there are certain things that you're going to pay twice as much, like the military. It's too dangerous to have a private military. So Milton Friedman concedes that we need a public military and it's going to cost twice as much because it's government. But that's the safest option. You don't want private military forces. You don't want private police forces. Like as soon as you privatize the police, then rich people have police and poor people, God help them. Protect yourself, basically. So
yes, I remember Sargon had a very interesting conversation with I think it was an ANCAP or something like a while ago. But I wanna Corey Roberts had a good super chat for $2, says, because I want to make sure I don't straw man libertarians. And the super chat says libertarians' fear is or equals that government bad makes for bad corporations. And so like one of the libertarian arguments is
interesting.
That bad government policies are what or can lead to monopolies and bad corporate behavior. And the thing is that's true. That's definitely true. Lots of times we can look and find instances of monopolies either being propped up by the government or created by the government, and that's definitely true. My only contention is I don't believe if you remove government from the equation 99% or 100% or 90% that monopolies would cease to exist. I do think monopolies are the natural state that businesses always are trying to tend towards.
Yeah,
you have to proactively try to stop that.
They want to get rid of competition. Competition's a big pain in the ass. They want to drive up prices.
Right.
And they'll collude. Even if they can't get rid of their competition, they'll have a morning phone call. How much are we going to screw these people?
Old TPT for 50 knock says, by equality of opportunity, we mean equality under the law, not an equal starting point. That's true. This is Norwegian currency, by the way. Take my Viking coin. So we can't trust the Vikings to talk about equality. All you guys used to do is run around and pillaging and raping. God,
yeah.
Terrible.
Oppressing people.
Proud. Yeah, pressing people.
Vosh is one of the few people I know that has a recent sociology degree. It's so fascinating to me that you can get a sociology degree and never encounter Thomas Sowell. Like, how does that happen?
Right.
Like,
Right. Render into Caesar for 499 says, has Vosh not heard of Kendi? Is he under a rock? Wouldn't Kendi be part of Vosh's bubble? Yeah, that's what's so weird about this, is because Kendi is advocating for racial equity. So I don't know if Vosh doesn't understand the arguments, or if he's being a little disingenuous here, trying to frame it like a way that's more positive for his side. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but
I'm curious.
People are born to poor and wealthy families, to good and bad school districts, in neighborhoods which may or may not have good job opportunities, to parents who may or may not, by the way, be good parents. There are forms of inequality that aren't even products of racism or sexism or of economic differentiation. Sometimes it can be as simple as, my parents were good to me and yours were not. Sometimes it's that simple. There is no
Attractiveness inequality. Oh, man. Height inequality. Oh, God.
Adam
level
wouldn't know
playing
anything about this because Adam is so beautiful and tall.
What? Come on. I would love to be over 6 foot.
field. The idea of there being some sort of natural state of man where everyone exists on a flat plane and then it's the government that fucks with that is it's just a complete lie. It's not true. It's never been true.
It's kind of, well, first of all, again, yeah, obviously this is straw man. This isn't Sowell's position. And I assume it's not Friedman's position either. But it's funny that he brings this up because it's really the leftists, and specifically the communists, that are the ones that always bring up like the blank slate theory, that all humans are born as like these equal empty vessels, and it's really just society conditioning them and the environment making them, have all the individual differences.